We ended our last episode in our journey through the hereafter by discussing how the Day of Judgment begins. Today we're going to talk about the 4 questions that we mentioned that every single human being will be asked. Because Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, he said that no 2 feet of anyone will move on the Day of Judgment, except that they will be asked 4 questions. They will be asked about their life and how they used it. They will be asked about their youth and how they spent it. They will be asked about their money, where they earned it and where they spent it. And they will be asked about their knowledge. Did they gain it and did they practice it? Those 4 questions will be asked of every human. And everyone has to have an answer. Everyone has to have a solid answer about their life. What did you use your life for? If you live for 100 years and you boil that time down, or you try to understand, how did I spend that time? If you sleep for 8 hours a day, that's 33 years of your life in sleep. If you calculate all the time you spent waiting for a bus or a train, sitting at a red light, sitting in the bathroom or watching television or a movie, or sitting and doing your homework, if you boil all that time down, how much time did you actually use for the sake of Allah? How much time did you worship Him? How much time did you spend benefiting people for His sake? How much time did you do things that would reward you on that day that you will stand in front of Him? See, our time and our life is the most valuable thing we have. It's the first thing we'll be asked about. The second thing is our young age, our youth. How did you use the strength and the vigor Allah gave you at a very young age? When you weren't sick and you weren't old and you were able to do so much, what did you do with your young age? What legacy did you leave behind? Where did you earn your money? What job did you have? Was it a pure source where you gained your money? Where did you spend your money? Was it on prohibited things or on permissible things? Were you excessive in your spending or were you cheap? All of these questions will be answered. And the last of them is your knowledge. Did you learn about who God is? Did you learn about the Day of Judgment? Did you learn about what questions you'll be asked? Did you learn about what's important in life? Did you try to find the guidance of Allah or not? Those are the questions that we have to answer to Allah. Nobody can move before they answer them. After they're answered, Allah will distribute the books, the scrolls that have everything in our life written. Every word we've ever said from the age of puberty until we die, every action, every deed, everything we've ever done. As the scrolls are given out, some people will get the book landed in their right hand. Those are the people that would have the easiest accountability. Allah Azza wa Jalla will be very merciful with their accountability. He will let things go. He'll hide things. He will erase sin that you never thought was erased. And you got the book in your right hand. It will be the happiest day of your life. And some people, they will receive the book, their scroll, their deeds in their left hand. And they will wish that they never received that book. They'll be condemned for eternal hell. They will be punished for the sins that exceeded any good that they did. So for some people, they thought that they could outsmart the system. They knew in Allah and the Day of Judgment and the accountability and their responsibilities towards that day. They knew that their book of deeds would be given. They knew. They had faith. But their faith was only in tongue. Their faith was only in words. They never practiced. Their hearts were always corrupt. They were just hypocrites. So on the Day of Judgment, when they stand there, they will put their right hands out and they will put their left hands behind their backs, hoping that the book will just fall in their right hand and has no chance of entering into their left hand. And lo and behold, what they will see is that the angels will come from the back and thrust their book into their left hand. And they will yell out a horrible scream of horror, of fear, because they know they couldn't con the system. Allah the Almighty will then have all of the people recite their good and recite their bad. All of the people, everyone, that book doesn't miss anything. Not one word, not one action, not one step. Everything will be there. The people won't believe. They will say, "What is this book?" There's nothing that's missing in it. It has everything. Everyone will have this book as they are going to stand in front of Allah to have that face-to-face accountability. It is these moments, my brethren, my brothers and sisters, it is that time when we are standing in front of Allah with all of our deeds that we will wish that we did more. We will wish that we did one more deed, one more good, anything that we could have left behind. We will yearn and we will have this source of regret. Whether we got the book in our right or our left, we will have this source of regret that we could have repented one more time. We could have asked for forgiveness one more time. We could have begged Allah for something one more time. We could have done one more deed. We could have said one more good word that would have changed the landscape of our accountability. It's just one deed that can separate someone from going to heaven and going to hell. It's just one thing. And so our job is to always do as much as we can in writing in our books, in our scrolls, as much as possible. So our lesson from today's episode is a very, very important lesson as Muslims. That we understand this essential concept in Islam. That everything that we do can be turned into a good deed with two important ingredients. Number one, that we do that action sincerely for Allah alone without anybody else. And number two, that we do it in accordance with the teachings that Allah wants, that He gave us through the Quran and the teachings of Prophet Muhammad. Any action that we do, anything that we do, can be rewarded with those two things. And so we have to think about that day that we will stand and those 4 questions that we will be asked. Why don't we turn normal things that we do in life into things that can be recorded into our book of good deeds? We can turn our food into good deeds, our lunch and our dinner, sitting down with our family, spending time with our parents, going to school, going to work, spending time with our spouse, our children, doing little things for our neighbors, doing anything as small as it can be with that intention can give us so much reward. Ali, the great companion of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, he once said, I would sleep half of the night and I would pray half of the night. And I expect from Allah that He rewards me for my sleep as much as He rewards me for my prayer. Everything in Islam can be turned into a good deed with a solid, sincere intention and making sure that that action falls in accordance with the teachings of the divine. And I hope and pray that we, as we mature in our faith and our understanding of Islam, that we can turn all our lives as meaningful worship towards Allah, our Creator.